Hello, everyone. It's a good afternoon and good evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to a technical session 5P. Myself, Richa from India, and this session will be moderated by me. On the behalf of the Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 6th World Conference on Smart Trends in System Security and Sustainability through Zoom. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeful and interactive session through the day. In this session, we have a 6 presentation. Each presentation will be allocate 15 minutes for presentation, which means 12 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for question answer. And there's another request for all the presenter. Please stay connected with us till the closing remark. In the end of the conference, we all are taking a quick snapshot for making this virtual conference more memorable. So please stay connected with us. And if you have any query and any update, kindly write it to me in a chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce our chair of this session, Dr. James Stephen. Dr. James Stephen is presently working with the Welfare Institute of Science, Technology and Management Engineering College, Visakhapatnam in India, as principal for the past 7 years. He is a member of Executive Council, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. He is a remarkable professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. He published more than 25 papers in various international conferences and journals of high reputation. Dr. James has about 15 years of service in teaching. He is a creative and resourceful teacher with the proven ability to enhance student performance. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Richa, for your kind introduction. I enjoy it. So, a pleasure to be here.
And
right, we can go ahead with the session.
Yes, sir. Now I would like to call our first presenter to present her paper on TIC AP Hub and Event Management System for FEU Tech Technology in Innovation in Capstone Project using Digital Ocean Droplets and Con Job. Paper presenter is Maria.
Yeah. Yes. Can I add a quick note before going to the presentations?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I request all the presenters to spend as little time as possible on the introduction or introductory parts or definition parts, something like that. We would like to hear more of your contributions. So because of the time constraint what we have, I request all the presenters to get into your contribution and spend more time over it. You can have 1 minute for introduction, maybe 1-2 minutes, then you get into your main algorithm or main contribution, main modeling, conceptualization, things like that. We would like to know your research more in detail rather running out of time after spending more time on introduction and all that stuff. And it would be good if you could leave at least 2 minutes for Q&A, and that would be very interesting to have interactive session. Thank you. Go ahead, please. Thank you, Richa.
My apologies. I have a problem with my laptop.
No worry. We can shift your presentation at the end of the session, so we can move forward to our next presentation.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Now I would call our next presenter to present.
Well. I cannot stop my screen.
To present his paper on Beyond Data Quality, the Assessment of Data Utilization in Indonesian Telecommunication Industry. The paper presenter name is Sandy.
I can, okay. Waduh. Okay, can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, First as all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sandy Prayogo. I'm from Telkom University, Indonesia. I would like to share our presentation about beyond data quality, the assessment of data utilization in Indonesia telecommunication industry. About data quality. Data is a representation of fact as text, number, graphic, image, sound, or video. Many researchers reveal about data quality such as Dama Book from 2017 defines data quality as the planning, implementation, and control of activity that apply quality management technique to data in order to assure it is fit for consumption and meet needs for data customer. The second from Brody at, from 1918 split data quality into three components. There are data reliability, semantic integrity, and physical integrity. And the third from Deme UK at 2013, the aspect quality are completeness, uniqueness, timeless, validity, accuracy, and consistency. And from NESS, the principle of data quality are as follows. Data is a cost and value product for customer. As a product, data has the quality, the result from the process by which the data is generated. The quality of your data depends on several factors, at least such as purpose of data you use, the user, and the time. From Knight and Burn at 2005 summarize the most popular and commonly include dimension in various data and information quality framework. And the last from Wang and Strong. Wang and Strong believe that data consumer have a much broader data quality conceptual that information system professional realize and split into 4 dimensions of data quality. There are intrinsic data quality, conceptual data quality, representation data quality, and accessible data quality. There is the common data quality issue. There are some common problems that often occur related to data quality, namely from upspace, zero, outliners, duplicate, extra space, misspelling, formula error codes, abbreviation, domain-specific disappearances, and therefore measuring certain characteristics of the data to meet the required criteria is a way to assess the quality of data. Each of these characteristics is called the dimension of data quality and is measured according to an objective assessment with relevant measurement to demonstrate completeness, validity, timelines, and consistency. Evaluating data quality will help for troubleshoot and identify other potential issues. Bad data only transform potential valuable information into a worthless byte stream. Move to business process. High data quality, of course, free from data quality problem, such as duplicate data, incomplete data, inconsistent data, incorrect data. Data is not well defined. Data is not well organized to poor data quality, and poor data quality can have substantial social economic impact. No company has perfect business process, perfect technical process, or perfect data management approach. So every company is bound to experience data quality problem. Most of the research on business process improve nearly entire emphasis the function in information and information system. There are accessibility, timeless, transparency, and granularity are the 4 criteria that have been linked to information flow in business process, and together they constitute a comprehensive lens for understanding process integration. While providing maintain and building operation are heavily data dependent, and many new network services rely on real-time across the data. The blurring of the distinction between, the blurring of the distinction between communication and data process make data quality even more important to communicated user and providers. Move to the quality. Quality simply means providing product and service in a way that meet the expectation for customer. As a business owner, a company understands that customer will continue to come to customer if they provide the product or service as the expectation and demand through appreciation. Data quality become a major issue for the industry, as well in the telecommunication industry in Indonesia. It was estimated in early 2022 that PT Telkom Indonesia has at around 8.7 million customers. It will be quite problem when there is a data discrepancy, redundancy, process, and configure. For example, PT Telkom Retail Sidoarjo, at the time of service validation with such large data and inaccurate GPON, data tracing occurs. In the process of changing the business flow, it will affect the existing data process and expected effect in as increased level of service quality for customer if there are technical problems in the field. With this example, it can be said that better data quality will lead the better business. And in this paper, our found that data can bring up valuable information to determine discussion for its user. So quality data is very much needed in an organization or company. There are several points in the study that need to be used as a standard to state that the data are of high quality. Those are relevancy, accuracy, timelines, completeness, uniqueness, consistency, and validity. The first is relevancy. Lack of relevance between tables can result in high disk space usage and slow data extraction. Data consistency can be said if all representation of this item in data storage are the same. Data integration, site intelligence, data quality, and data enhance are the four pillars of integration. The second is accuracy. The ability to reach existing and potential customer efficiently and consistently is essential to any business. Every aspect of the organization and your contact are close proximity to all phases of the customer life cycle and can impact customer contact data. That's a challenge. This includes data collected from request or order to automatic generation of cross-selling offer and launch of social media marketing campaign. When it comes to cleaning contact information, IT and marketing leaders first understand the data and make common errors such as missing or secondary address record or incomplete phone number. The third is timelines. Inability to properly attribute transaction is the biggest challenge to ensure the quality of data on a data source system to a single source. For example, a supplier price will appear twice as different supplier. If one company coordinates two ERP systems, one system there will be a mismatch with addresses on other system, as well as supplier addresses, telephone number, and so on. This exacerbates the data quality issue of all billing and ERP system. The fourth is completeness. Carefully planning and data integration during the design phase can significantly reduce extreme data quality issue. Quality data driven the business analysis and accurate business representation for predict the future is the best used by applying a consistent set of a business rule to your data source. The five is uniqueness. Record that duplicate all data are a common data quality issue, as connection data is rarely static. This is especially true for companies that collect information across multiple channels, such as a call center, website, retail store, at multiple stages of the customer lifecycle. Generally, if a company has multiple records for the same client in a database or data storehouse, the same data identifier will match and link that record grounded on individual characteristics, adding delicacy over time. The sixth is consistency. Inconsistency occurs because the table has the same data as other table, wasting storing media in the database. And the last is validity. There is that attribute in the user table, but there is no validation aspect because the data entered is incorrect. The customer table has that attribute, but the data entered is incorrect and is not checked for validity. A data-driven strategy is to improve data quality by directly adjusting data value. Optimization technique related to data management include new data accession, standardization or normalization, error processing and correction, dataset linking, data and scheme integration, source trustability, and cost optimization. This process is based on another strategy of redesign the process of generating or modify data, improve quality of the data. And for the summary, in order to better assess quality, we must select specified scoring indicator for each dimension. This data require the fulfillment of certain condition of characteristic. Formulation of assessment sign additionally relies upon at a real commercial enterprise environment. Each aspect of quality require different measurement tools, method, and process, resulting in different in evaluation time, cost, and human resource. With an unmistakable comprehension of the painting as to evaluate every element, you may determine the applicable plan compass through choosing the element that fits your situation. Therefore, the result of the initial assessment should be used as an instinct for continuous business process improvement through regularity monitoring. And this is my last slide. Thank you for the attention. That's all my presentation. Thank you.
Nice. Any questions? No? It seems to be a good work. How did you measure the quality? Did you use any other models to compare your work? How did you make the quality check? Because you spoke a lot on quality.
The quality can be checked, as I mentioned before, for the relevancy, accuracy, timelines, completeness, uniqueness, consistency, and validity. There are, I think that standard that the data are high of quality.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now we can call our next presenter to present his paper on a case study in the application of STPA set and chases for socio-technical cybersecurity risk management in healthcare from developing nation. The paper presenter name is Joseph. I think he is absent. So we can call our next presenter to present his paper on towards and e-psychology solution to support, intervenes and educate the control of emotion in infants. Paper presenter name is Janio.
Excuse me, good morning from Latin America. I am Monica Mendoza and the teacher Janio is travel. I have the video. Please for my
Yes, you
share.
can. Yes, you
Okay.
can share it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The control of emotions in infants. With my colleagues, Cleofe Albites Guamaní from Peru, John Rojas Montero from Colombia, and Elias Muñoz Primero from Mexico, introduced an exploratory study about to create a web platform to try to solve this problem. Why this problem? Pues anxiety and depression in infants are a problem that is increasing. It is being a consequence of the global pandemic caused by COVID-19. The current panorama indicates that infants are possible victims of suffering from these moods at very early age. In the worst case, it becomes the leading cause of child suicide. When I said infants, I refer children in the initial age. And in this context, the current project considers of making a web application for the control of emotions. In primary schools, children through modules made up the theoretical section that cover the management of the emotions, thoughts, assertiveness, frustration, rating, and muscle relaxation. There are many proposals that in this context that we have studied in the background. For example, mobile application for anxiety, design of a technological applications to help improve self-management of symptoms, remote test applications, the use of technologies as a factor of socio-affective development in children and young students in northwestern Mexico, for example. And on other applications, that's in conclusion, digital technology have made inroads into healthcare system, and in this process, that's being greatly accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. ECTs is an opportunity to get closer to students' motivation and educate them for health. Digital tools can have very positive effects in the management of healthcare. In this area, pues, the telepsychology is an area where these technologies, these digital tools can improve the situation. Provision of psychological service using information and telecommunication technology. Also through the processing of information by digital means. And the use of auxiliary technological tools on psychological support for people. People who is in remote places could be a solution. What is the method what we follow in this research? The first is propose the design of this web platform through the Kanban board. First, analysis of relevant technologies of the project, the designing the graphical interface of data repository, developed and programming, unit and system tests, and synthesis of these results obtained from all countries, in Ecuador, in Peru, in Colombia, in Mexico. The real situation is that the children, the people, has affected by emotional and psychological situation caused by pandemic. With all of this experience on this, that we propose the construction following the design of software methodology. With first prototype, we use HTML5, CS3, JavaScript, Python, Flash for Python, and the database SQLite 3. We follow it the usability. We create a hosting with a DNS was implemented through the no public IP platform. Using usability criteria were based on ISO 924111 standard. to measure effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction. This is the first user graphic card interface. For example, children, obviously with the support of people, fathers, can interact with thoughts or the control so as not hurt others, or maybe exercise to relax in order the disturbing emotions. If you see the technological part, that is the objective of this paper, is this is the system use case diagram based on the UML standard. We have the user and the administrator. See, the user, children, or father can access with a login. With the login, the user has performed sessions, and each session has modules, and this get into and receive feedback after depending of the exercise. The exercise, pues, has two parts. First, with videos, pre-record videos, and the second, inclusive, could be a psychology to connect remotely, synchronously. It is the entity relationship diagram. We need to register some data: name, age, gender, grade of school, the children can be visualized. Also, information can administer, and there are a set of questions in the platform, and obvious depends of this information. There were the module of integration that with other data can register, can give the information that the user needs. This is for example, the process in the case of a record the data in the case in this case get into information. Another is the insert a new users that follow with this diagram into the systems. And finally, the process to the integration sessions where the people receive the feedback. This is the white box, the white box proofs. Well, yes, this application is processing in the register, auto register. So we have developed a prototype, and with these experiences, our conclusions are the web application became an alternative to supporting fans by following them to interact with their thoughts, control themselves, to avoid harming others, and relax to avoid disturbing emotions. Another, this was possible to establish contact with professionals capable of providing feedback and guiding them to aspects related to anxiety, depression, and suicide risk. Yes, We have contact with psychologists that can support this platform behind the technology, the support to the integrations. The agile development of application became imperative to provide timely solutions in real problems. Thus, it was necessary to consider requirements analysis, user control, response time, user interactivity, statistical analysis of the system, systematic analysis of response. And finally, in response time, through a host server, the adequate infrastructure was provided for the operation of the application. The others, user interactivity, gamification techniques were developed with technologies such as HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript, focus providing fans with necessary to better understanding of their emotions. Yes, some reference from the research, and we thanks for your attention. Please, if there any question, please.
So thank you for your presentation. It's very nice presentation. So moving ahead, I would like to call our next presenter.
Thank you.
It's a Carlos. To present is a paper on creation of a children's application to prevent cyberbullying. Might be he is absent. I think Joseph is here, so we can call Joseph to present his presentation. Joseph, are you ready for presentation? Hello.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so are you sure I can see it?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome to my presentations. This actually involved, I'm Joseph Kaberuka, PhD student, University of Glasgow. This work involved a case study we have done in the applications of two approaches, STPSEC and Chassis approach for socio-technical cybersecurity risk management in healthcare from developing nations. So the goal actually is to identify the socio-technical risk. In today's, we know that healthcare has got a number of advances in technologies and the boost of digital systems. So in what we have found that in developing nations is that maximizations of the benefits of these technologies and at the same time address the risk associated with it. So it's actually a problem. So it's in that particular context that we wanted to evaluate these two approaches. So that's the goal. So one of the approach is STPSEC. STPSEC is a system theoretic process analysis based on STAMP. STAMP is a new causality accident model, which recently introduced at MIT. And STPSEC, it's a stamp-based framework which is analyzing the cybersecurity problems. So the approach actually introduced a new top-down process analysis designed to help a multidisciplinary teams consisting of security, operations, in order to identify vulnerabilities that could actually put the system in a more vulnerable states. So the approach is actually based on control structure. So it uses a control structure to determine system level risk. The control structure here, you can see with the case study, we have tried to model or influencing components in relation to the use and operations of the picture archiving and communication system. This is a digital imaging systems in healthcare, which has got some revolutions, like has got some improvements recently. So we wanted to analyze, actually, using this approach, what are the socio-technical risks that actually affect adequate operations of this system. So we introduce STPSEC in this area. So the system theory approach conceptualize the system as a hierarchy structure. You can see that from high level to lower level, there is influence where each level influences control at the next lower level to make sure that the system is very constrained with adequate controls that prevent the system from entering a vulnerable state. And between various components of the system, we have a control loop. A control loop is the pillar of the methods, which is used as a guidance to assess vulnerable states, vulnerable control actions between the various components of the system. So we did it to analyze vulnerabilities related to the use and operation of the PACS in this hospital. What we have found that there are socio-technical risks influencing these systems that are actually in this particular context. So we try to use STPSEC with its modeling techniques to try to understand what the vulnerabilities related to the use and operations that affect secure operations of parts in this hospital. So these are the high level vulnerabilities we were able to identify. We're able to identify the system level vulnerabilities. This is just a snapshot analysis. And we provide the constraints against those vulnerabilities. And we also identify what are the causal scenarios to these vulnerabilities. Using hospital administrators, we were able to identify what possible causal scenarios that will lead to these vulnerabilities. So, of course, there are limitations with the approach. What we have seen as the limitation is that given the social technical context of the case study, we have found that given that the analyst has to evaluate all control variables to process, when these process model variables are actually too many, it is actually hard for the analyst to be able to enumerate all of them. So that's one of the limitations with the approach that we recorded on the ground. Another limitation is that the approach based on a control loop and which operates between various components of the control structure. This poses risk in this particular context because what goes beyond the control structure is actually beyond the control of the protective analyst. So this is a problem with the approach where the analyst needs to actually go beyond the control structure and identify vulnerabilities. It is for that reason we propose a support to the approach. A support to the approach that we propose is about another rigorous technique called choices. Choices is a combined harm analysis for safety and security of information systems. So the approach is used to help finding vulnerability related to operations and use of the system. So this gives the analyst another way of elaborating vulnerabilities beyond just the control structure limitation provided by STPSEC. So choices starts by reciting functional system requirements, by defining system functions that involving actors, process, and system interactions. So the techniques has so many different modeling elements, and the basic analysis is just to use a use case. So in this particular context, we found that STPSEC struggle to constrain and provide the system, the protection when needed for remote access to parks in this particular case study, where different threats could also affect the operations. With chassis, we give another more elaboration of the use case, where the analyst has different options other than just being constrained by the control structure analysis. The analyst can have actually another way of elaborating a remote access to parks by identifying different areas of concerns that could actually threaten the security of this system. So what we have found as summary results is that it's good. STPSEC can help in this particular context of the case study, but having an additional systematic and structural analysis can be beneficial for the analyst, because the analyst is not solely constrained by the control structure that has several limitations when analyzing security threats beyond the control structure. So even though the mitigations with STPSX still higher than chassis, we believe that in this particular context of the organizations, having applied two rigorous approaches could actually help the analysts constrain better the analyzed systems. So in our future work, we intend to have some experimental approaches to analyze two approaches and try to see if we can have some correlations between the results. And also we intend to analyze a different scenario where we can actually apply the two approaches in different environments, like in the UK, where administrators have some knowledge about socio-technical methods and some knowledge about experiments with cybersecurity, which is actually different from the case study we have analyzed. So that's the end of the presentations. I thank you for your attentions, and I welcome your comments and questions. Thanks.
Very good. So do you have any future scope for your system?
That's what I said. We believe we try to see if, like, by applying it in a different scenario, if we can have more results than what we have got. So that's what I could say.
Okay, thank you so much, Joseph, for your very kind information and a very nice presentation. Moving ahead, we can call our next presenter. It's Monica, to present her paper on redefining the museum experience in the virtual age.
Can you hear me? Good morning from Latin America, and good afternoon in Europe. I am Mónica Mendoza Proaño, and together with my colleagues, Janio Jadán Guerrero and Cleófilo Vites Guamani, have researched an interesting topic that invites teacher, cultural manager, and anyone interested in the subject to reflect on the importance of the use of other physical and virtual space for the training and education of children and young people with whom we work. Welcome and thank you for your presence. Next, I will share my presentation. Okay, so redefining the museum experience in the virtual age. Curiosity is nourished by two emotions, surprise and joy. David Bueno. In Latin America, as well as in our country, Ecuador, art and culture are not available to children It could seem that they are issues that are irrelevant their age. However, the benefit of art in its different expression is infinity. The French neurologist Boris Cyrulnik has investigated it in one of these interviews on science. Art, play, among others, must be present from an early age. This research presents three significant interest experiences worked and articulated with the Centers for Preschool and Primary School, for emphasizing the digital transformation education depending only of technology. So the people who are going to guide and trying it. What do we do? First, the Spiral of Memory at the National Museum of Ecuador, MUNA. Second, the animals of yesterday and today. Their interactive museum as a pedagogical mediators. First, the Spiral of Memory by Fabiano Cueva. It was an innovative proposal by the Ecuadorian artist and creator Fabiano Cueva. The guest was the protagonist along with the body to mediate this knowledge by making the children participate in this piece, provoking reflection, the creation of the stories through the reading of images in the relation context with the play and folklore that allowed us to know our country, get to know each other between the real and imaginary. The Spiral of Memory, on the other side of the world, we find the work of the German painter and sculptor, Ansel Kiefer, the famous Order of the Night that belongs to the collection of the Guggenheim Bilbao Museum. Spies begin a work with few elements, allowed us to interpret the meaning, such as imitation or empathy, that from the educational didactic perspective, combine the harmony of ideas that mediation and interpretation allow. 2. Animals of yesterday and today. By innovation area of
Sorry for interruption. Dear presenter, your presentation is not moving. Still, it's a first slide.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I share again. You can see?
Yes.
No? Okay. I continue. The innovation area of CDA Arca del Saber, the creation and developing of this experience was born from the need to continue visiting museums that due to the pandemic could not be visited. Virtual museums are a space for interaction. They allow children to create their own stories and composition from the observation of digital resources. To learn with a virtual museum, it was necessary to make an articulation with the initial education curriculum of the Ecuador, is achieving a significant interpretation combining. There, interactive museum as pedagogical mediators. By Diana Palacios and Jania Jadan Guerrero. Interactive museum, according to the authors, are spaces that allow mediation between knowledge and new digital experience that take the primary school students an environment where they can find resources with augmented reality, interactive games, virtual visit to the museum around the world, home experiments and student exhibition with the aim of strengthening the teaching learning process through play, experimentation, and interaction and integration with objects, space and information hosted in. Conclusion. The new didactics that are proposed and made at working with the museum are not the museum, motivates the development of innovative physical and digital education resource to elevate learning experience where the central axis is the children as young people. 2. Several authors talking about the benefit of a visit to a museum. In this research proposal developed with children of preschool and primary school age, lines that we hope will serve to understand that the development of life skills does not only occur in classroom, that in schools, college, and universities or institutes, the creativity that developed through the fine arts could give all children and young developers of disruptive innovation, questioners, curious, and dreamers who are happy adults and who enjoy that they choose to sustain their lives. 3. Bringing children and young people closer to this cultural space is a challenge that must be shared by educational and teacher leaders at all levels to move the classroom to the corridors, rooms, corners, and monuments of your cities and the world. On the other hand, the cultural space must be prepared for this new metamuseo through mediation where the main actors, as we have stated, is the user. The possibilities are endless to bring in the world of fine artists closer to children, young people and adults to raise awareness among cultural center and directors of educational center so that a new way of teaching and learning with the museum through alliance and collaboration that making the use of this space visible and that allow participatory and constructive dialogue. Finally, not only museums for children are for children, nor are national museums and galleries for adults. In this research experience in National Museum, where children and young people have been made visible, then it will be emotion they manage to find as and fit into the adventure is innovating to move from face-to-face experience to digital experience with the museum. Thank you.
Any questions on this presentation from the participants? No. So did you identify any limitations in your system, like any drawbacks comparing with the existing things? You have spoken a lot of advantages, right? So could you come across any challenges at least?
Excuse me, I can hear
Could
you.
not hear me?
No, I can hear you. Excuse me.
Yes. Did you come across any challenges while developing your system? Am I audible to you? No? Okay, it's okay. If there are any further questions from any participants, otherwise we would just go to the next presenter. Yeah, that's good.
I think we have some network issue. That's.
Thank you so much, Monica. Very nice presentation. So we can call our next presenter. I think Carlos is here. So to present his paper on creation of a children's application to prevent cyberbullying. Paper presenter name is Carlos.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, good morning. My name is Carlos Ramos. I am present our investigation in the name of my team. We are a team from Ecuador that are formed by Carlos Ramos, Janio Hadan, Hugo Arias, Pamela Costa, and Monica Bolaños. We are from some universities, University in America from Ecuador and Catholic University from Ecuador. Cyberbullying is an act of intentional harm that is carried out through online technological means. These acts of offense are characterized by being public and intentional repeat, in which there is a relationship between an aggressor and a victim who suffers a negative impact on their mental health as a result of the harassment received. Human factors engineering involves understanding the need for comprehensive in various stages of human life. There is a risk of suffering cyberbullying, being the adolescent and adult stage the most studied. However, in the context of school children, there is also a high risk of suffering this type of violence. So in this work, we focus on developing an application to prevent such situations. Integration of human capabilities, cognitive, such as cognitive, physical, sensory, and team dynamics in recent years, there has been a growing interest in generating new ways to prevent cyberbullying in the different contexts in which the human being develops. The following describes the conceptual process of designing an application for smartphones that allow children prevent cyberbullying. What is our application content? Cyberbullying awareness videos. The application will present videos that will raise awareness among students about the consequence of cyberbullying. In this type of videos, situations will be presented in which children observe situations of cyberbullying and can make a reflection on the consequence that can be generated in the mental health of the child who receives the aggression, as well as the one who plays the role of perpetrator. In this way, through reflective learning, children will understand the impact of this type of violence and will be able to reduce in occurrence in the educational context. Another content is digital right. One of the elements of the application has to do with raising awareness of the digital rights of children, as well as indicating the rights in the digital context. It also highlights the responsibility that one of the interacting in the networks. For example, taking into account the damage can be done by sharing information, publishing false news, making fun of others, sending offensive messages, and other actions that can hurt a classmate. We have a game to prevent cyberbullying. In this part of the application, a game will be created in which there are several characters in a school. The child selects a male or female avatar who must face several cyberbullying situations and will win or lose points depending on their reactions in favor, prevention, or assertive response of this problem. Song to prevent cyberbullying. One of our objectives is to create a song to prevent this kind of violence. The application will present a section in which it presents a song for students to learn and can throw a quiz reflect on the negative impact of cyberbullying and the importance of preventing this type of behavior. Finally, this last part of the application is family strategies to prevent cyberbullying. In this section, a set of strategies will be presented so that the children's caregivers can adequately guide the behavior in favor of the prevention and good management of cyberbullying situations. In this image, you can see the activities shown in application to prevent cyberbullying. Finally, cyberbullying is a social phenomenon that affects a large percentage of students worldwide. Technological change and the use of virtual platforms for learning and teaching has led to violent bullying behavior becomes more common. Within this context, the development of technological tools becomes an important strategy for the prevention and management of social problems, such as cyberbullying. This article presents the conceptual development of an application for a smartphone that seeks to prevent cyberbullying behaviors in the educational context. In the long term, the study of cyberbullying is important since the problems suffered by children and adolescents in the context of technological communication are becoming more and more evident. Social networks are advancing more and becoming a vital part of the lives of human beings. For this reason, it is essential to have an application like the one we describe in this work. We seeks to prevent this type of technological harassment. The practical advantage of having an application to prevent cyberbullying lies in reducing the violence that exists in the educational context. Currently, there have been countless cases of child suicide, a product of harassment that exists in the virtual context. For this reason, having an application on a smartphone that seeks to reduce this type of behavior greatly helps society. In a following study in our future research, an experimental methodology will be applied in verify the effectiveness of the development application. The objective is to apply in the Ecuadorian population and thus in the future be able to extend in the rest of Latin American context in order to reduce cyberbullying in these countries. As a conclusion of the study, the relevance of generating technological response in favor of a problem that affects children and adolescents in the virtual educational context should be highlighted. Currently, having electronic devices such as smartphones make it easy for parents and students to access vital information to handle this type of situation, in which an application such as the one proposed in this work could be vital to avoid some suicide or mental problem in someone who is being harassed. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Yeah, any further questions on the presentation? Carlos, you did a good job.
Yes, Stephen, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Now we can call our last presenter. It's Maria to present her paper on an event management system for FEU Tech Technology Innovation in Capstone project using digital ocean droplets and con jobs.
A pleasant day to everyone. My apologies for the technical difficulty earlier. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so again, my apologies. So again, a pleasant day to everyone. So I am here to present our research, which entitled TCOP Hub, an event management system for FEU Tech's Technology Innovation and Capstone project using digital ocean droplets and crown jobs. Together with me are my co-authors, John Raymond Arisgado, Ace Lagman, Peter Carl Prado, Miguel Brian Pajarillo, Justin Neil Calagiwan, Elena Rose Galpeo, Henry Vicente, and yours truly. I am Maria Vicky Salomo, and we are from FEU Institute of Technology. Next slide, please. And then another slide. Thank you. So for my presentation outline, we have introduction, related studies, methodology, development, developed software, results and discussion, and conclusions and recommendations. Next slide, please. So for our client is FEU Tech or FEU Institute of Technology. It is known to some of its innovative degree. They offer courses related to information technology, computer science, and multimedia arts under the College of Computer Studies. So being one of the prominent school for information technology here in the Philippines, our client offers project-based learning where the students learn a programming concept by developing a project that could solve a problem from a chosen client. And with this project-based learning, FEU Tech has an event known as Technology Innovation in Capstone Project or TCAP. Next slide, please. So TCAP has been one of the most anticipated celebration in FEU Tech. TCAP is where the PBL4 students showcases their capstone projects among their peers, guests, and invited panelists. The event itself is composed of seminars, project exhibit, and awarding ceremony. Next slide, please. So why event management system? So as we all know, an event management system facilitates instant communication between planners and providers and make it easier to share timely information to students, faculty, catering, operations, and more. So by having an automated notification and mobile capabilities, help keep everyone informed of changes and plans, eliminating event disasters due to miscommunication. Next slide, please. So based on interview conducted by us to the PBL advisors and former TICA participants, these are the problems that we identified. So first is the lack of task distributions and coordination. This is because the course advisors and officers often have a hard time in tracking the progress and assets of each event. There is also lack of unified platform to vote and elect committee officers. Next, the celebration lacks an archiving methods to store past TCAP assets, which could be very helpful for the TCAP officers. And finally, the TCAP celebration needs to have an organized way to store attendance as well as generate needed reports on various phases of the events. In order to aid in the planning events, organizer can use event management tools to monitor the various assets of the event. So according to the socialtables.com, having an integrated event management tool improves the guest attendance by 20%, productivity by 27%, and profit margin by 20 to 30% on average. However, management tools don't come in one size fits all, and an annual event on a certain organization will certainly require an event management system that is tailored for the organization. So with that in mind, we, the researcher, came up with a solution, which is the development of, next slide, please. The development of TCAP Hub, an event management system for FEU Tech's Technology Innovation and Capstone Project.
Relax and
But
safe in the
how?
car.
Oh,
Hello? So, but how can this software solve all the problems? Next slide, please. First is that the TCAP Hub has an event scheduling module where the users can set various schedules for the events like project exhibit, webinar, etc. They can also set meetings with the committees and so on. Next slide, please. Aside from that, we have task monitoring module. This module exists on both the web and mobile application. The task monitoring module employs a Kanban workflow methodology where the tasks are listed on various lists and each event has its separate workspace. Another module is the voting module. Next slide, please. This module is very relevant on the first phase of TCAP since this is where the student elects their TCAP officers and students from each specialization must elect their officers. Another module is the project assessment. Project assessment module will be utilized during the project exhibit where the panelists can input their grades for various capstone groups. This is also where the students and guests vote for their favorite capstone group for the Student Choice Award. Another module is the documentation module. So this module generates the needed reports for the aforementioned modules earlier and also stores and archives the past TCAP events. The documentation module has two sub-modules, which are the attendance module. This is where the guests record their attendance. So during the event, the users could scan the QR code, and they will be directed to the attendance module to input their attendance. Another module is the certificate module. This module is connected to the project assessment module as it generates a certificate of the winners after the panel members are done evaluating the group. So from here, the admin can email the certificates to the respective awardee, and they can also download certificates which will then be used during the awarding ceremony. So let's go to the methodology. During the development, this project or the researcher uses Scrum methodology. It started with the week by planning the sprint based on the product backlog and sprint backlog. So after every 2 weeks, we review the progress of each task and make a new plan for the coming week. There were a total of 7 sprints, and each sprint lasted for 14 days or 2 weeks. For the developed software, we have 2 different applications, such as the web application and then mobile application. So let's proceed to the web application part. So aside from the modules that I have mentioned earlier, we also have the homepage and then the dashboard as part of the web application. We also have the user accounts module and then voting modules. Voting modules, this is where the student elect their desired TCAP officers. So moving forward to the mobile application design. So for the mobile application, we have the login page, the home page, the events tab, and then the Kanban board. We also have the task details, update task details, the kebab icons, and then the prompt box. So for the results in the discussion, the researcher uses the ISO 9126 quality model to evaluate the systems in terms of functionality, usability, reliability, and supportability. There are a total of 51 respondents who evaluated the system. So based on the conducted software evaluation, the following results were obtained. So for the web application, we have an overall mean of 4.72, which is equivalent to strongly agree. While for the mobile application, we have a weighted mean of 4.71. So similarly, for the mobile application, out of 5 FERPS criteria, the respondents also responded with strongly agree, which means that both the web application and mobile application has met all its needed qualification. So for the conclusion, upon developing the project, we, the researcher, were able to accomplish the following objectives. So first, the web application has the following features, such as the task monitoring, the event scheduling, the project assessment, document management, and then the voting system. Moving forward, the researcher was also able to develop a mobile application that has integrated task monitoring module. The system were also able to provide notification for events with the help of the event scheduling module, and was able to generate certificates for the awards with the help of documentation module. And finally, the system was evaluated using the FERPS evaluation model, where it received an overall mean of 4.7 that directly translate to strongly agree. For the recommendations, the researchers believe that the system can be improved in terms of its user interface. It will also be beneficial if the committees such as programs, logistics, creatives, and others will have a dedicated module in order for them to better perform their needed responsibilities. Lastly, it will be best for the event management system to have technologies such as chatbots and reservation system to guide the guests for future events schedule. Doing this will allow the user to have more enjoyable experience in pickup events. So this ends my presentations. These are the references. And thank you everyone for listening, and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, presenter, for your presentation. Dear sir, any question?
Did you take the picture?
I think there's a no question. Thank you so much. And we had completed all the presentations. I sincerely thank our author for the excellent presentation and contribution in this session. And to all participants to being a part of this international conference, thank you so much. And I hope this session was informative enough. And we, behalf of the whole team, thank you for your support in this version and the previous version. We will be happy to have you in the next 7th version in 2023. All the presenter would be getting digital certificates through email within 2 to 3 working days. All the papers have already forwarded to the Springer. Publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. So kindly be cooperate with the team of WS4. And I also request to my team to share a certificate to our chair. And I would like to thank you for chairing this session.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your presence.
Thank you.
And I request to everyone, please turn on their cameras for taking a quick snapshot for making this virtual conference memorable.
So thank you. It's a joy to be part of this 6th World Conference on Smart Trends in System Security and Sustainability. And I congratulate GR Foundation, especially my very good friend, Dr. Amit Josh and Mihir. And it's been a joy to travel with them. And in spite of all the pandemic situations, doing things like this is amazing. In fact, I was told in the inaugural session that more than 90 countries have shown interest to participate in this, and we received papers from probably more than 53 countries. That's amazing to me. So I congratulate all the authors and the presenters. Thank you. Thank you to the moderator too. You did well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and take care.